If you somehow haven't seen, I have been building my dream theme park in Planet Coaster 2. From a huge Greek themed area with a launch coaster and a family drop track ride, spoiler alert, although you're not going to, right. Anyway, to a huge Viking themed B&M invert that goes in and out of the terrain. And in the last episode, we finished that coaster and it was sort of looking like the Viking area was almost complete. But as I said, you guys have been suggesting loads of different ideas and have been wanting this Viking area to be even bigger. So I have gone and done just that. So join me in this episode as I build the final ride in this Viking themed area. And I'm also going to talk about what's next in the park. So be sure to watch till the end so you don't miss the POV and that talk. And also subscribe. We're nearing so close to 100,000 subscribers now, which is so insane. So if you want to help towards that goal, it'd be greatly appreciated. Hello and welcome back to episode 6 of the custom park in Planet Coaster 2. I said we'd get a name for the park this episode. We haven't. I feel like that's just going to be an ongoing joke of, oh yeah, I'm going to get the name for the park next episode. Yeah, I'll sort it out. I'll figure out a name. And then I just never do. I feel like that's just going to be an ongoing thing. So I'm sorry in advance for that. But one day we will figure it out. But either way, welcome back to episode 6. It feels like I'm only like 2 episodes in. So saying we're 6 episodes in, this series is flying by. And I don't know what to really feel about that. As is the time-lapse. This time-lapse has flown by because I haven't even been able to talk about what I'm building. I am, of course, building a log flume ride in the Viking-themed area. So, as I said in the intro, a lot of people did suggest, not only in the last video, but also in previous videos where I was saying we're only going to have a few rides in the Viking area, not too many. People wanted to see another ride in the Viking area alongside the ones that I said about. So here is a log flume. I thought, in previous episodes we've made flat rides and coasters, and some of those flat rides have water features and some of the coasters have dark ride features, but we've never made a water ride or a dark ride solely. So in this episode and in the Viking themed area, we are ticking off that water ride, and I thought literally a log flume would be amazing, not only for the park but for a Viking theme. And obviously we're going for that mountainous Viking theme, not just like, as I said last time, just the generic buildings and everything all over the place. We're going for the mountainous vibe. Very How to Train Your Dragon-esque. Again, I think I'm repeating myself from the previous episode, but oh well. So with that theme sort of being set in stone for us, obviously you're going to see over the course of this episode and in the POV that this log flume very much relies on the terrain of it sort of making its way up the mountain, I guess. And you'll see pretty much half the theming is rock work and like wooden structures and loads of stuff like that, not necessarily buildings. So yeah, I tried my best with it. I wanted to go for not like a high-tech log flume, you like your chap-ass that sort of has these sliding tracks. And I know this does have 2 turntables, you can see them quite clearly. But there's quite a few older log flumes that do have turntables like that too. So I sort of went for the chap-ass theme sort of, amount, because I wanted to make it well themed. But I also went for a little bit more retro of a log flume layout, if that makes any sense. I thought it'd be nice. That's what went through my head. Probably doesn't make any sense. But we're here now, and you can see that final drop off that hill right at the end. And, I didn't want to make a massive lift hill all the way up to that one drop right at the end, because I feel like as much as there is a bit of anticipation there, one big lift hill is boring. So what I did is I say that, but literally half the coasters that we go on have one big lift hill, don't they? Okay, one big lift hill on log flumes is boring. We'll say that and we'll stick with that, because you don't really see a lot of the newer log flumes and some of the better log flumes that we have in the world. You don't really see them go up a singular lift hill and then that's the sort of end of it. One lift hill, one big drop. I know the one at Leishburg goes up about 3 lift hills before it goes down 2 big drops, which is actually hilariously fun. But what I wanted to do is have not just one big lift hill on this. You'll see there is a sort of bigger lift hill towards the end, but there's not a single huge lift. I don't know why I'm talking so much about lift hills. My point is, I didn't want to make it a boring old log flume, so you've got various different drops and various different heights of these drops, so we can sort of work our way up the mountain towards that ending and that final big drop. There you go, we got through the lift hill talk. As you can see right here, I'm actually putting in 2 entrance signs for another end of the sort of area, because there's sort of a pathway that leads around the backside of the mountain that's behind Mjolnir. Still can't get that name right. That will eventually link up another area in the park, which I'm going to talk about later, and this Viking themed area, because I feel like having one entrance to an area is a very silly idea, because guest flow will not be good, so I need to work on that very soon, and well, that'll come when I make the next themed area, which I'm going to be talking about when we go into the park in real time. As you can see, a lot of you suggested last time, I sort of showed you this sort of Viking seating area and eatery that I made in the very start of the Viking themed area, Stores time, and I was going to add an outdoor seating bit to that, but I thought, why would I add more seating to that one that I've already finished when I can make a whole new one later in the area? So this is actually going to be called the Viking. Now that was suggested by Roller Coasters with Riley, so shout out to you for that name, because I think it just works so well. We obviously have at Towers, if you don't know, as much as this is more of a restaurant, at Towers we have a pub called the Welcome Inn, and that's a play on words just outside the Wicker Man of the old Wicker Man themed scare maze, the Welcoming. So I thought the Viking is just so fitting for this, because it is literally a Viking themed area and it's an inn for drinking and eating. So yeah, very good name for that. Thank you very much for that suggestion. And also we are going to be giving a name to that teacups ride that I made in the last episode. Really happy with how that came out. I think I said the word happy, or the words I'm so happy with that, about 1,500 times in that video. So we'll try and say it less in this one. But yeah, that teacups ride, it's now got a name, and I'm pretty happy with. I just did that. I just literally did what I said I would. But the teacups has a name now, and so will this log flume eventually in the next episode, because I'm going to leave this to you guys again, as I usually do. If you have any name suggestions for this log flume and any like storylines that you think I could go for, then please be sure to leave them in the comments below. I love reading all of your guys' ideas. Obviously, I don't end up using them all because there's so many, and I haven't obviously made as many rides as there have been suggestions, but I absolutely love reading them. You guys have some insane ideas. Like, I would not be able to think of half the stuff that you guys think of. Literally, I thought about, I remember at the start of the Greek themed area, I was thinking about naming that area myself, and sort of, you know, thinking of Talos, which is what the Vekoma launch coaster ended up being called, thinking of a name for that myself, and I came up with some awful names. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but yeah, Talos, and obviously every single one that we've chosen since, such as Valkyrie for the B&M invert, Poseidon for the flat ride in the Greek area, Artemis, and obviously the new name for the teacups, and whatever you guys decide for this log flume. So get those name suggestions coming in, because this is the final ride in the Viking themed area. I've already said that, but yeah, it's kind of sad, really, because you build these areas, or you start building them, and you know, they take forever to start. I knew I wanted to do a Greek themed area and a Viking themed area, and I know I'm talking as if I've built many an area, but I've built 2 in this park so far. But you start building them and you think like, oh, I'm going to build this coaster, and then it doesn't really turn out the way you wanted it, so you update it and upgrade it, and you just edit loads of different things, and eventually, like, after hours and hours of work, you actually get to a point where you're like, okay, we can stick with this now. A literal good example of that is the B&M invert in this Viking area. I built an RMC first, deleted it, Mac Hyper then, deleted it, and I even built another version of an invert in that place and deleted it, because I was just like, not too happy with how it looks. But then eventually you get there, as we're getting there with this log flume, because I started building this another layout version of a log flume. Wasn't too happy with it, but I literally only just started it, so I won't count it as much as I do the ones that were potentially going to go where the invert is now. But But I also considered making a water coaster instead of a log flume as well. But I thought it'd be nice to have a log flume in the park. We'll probably have a river rapids somewhere else in this park. Again, I don't know where. There's so many theme ideas that both I and you guys have that will potentially be used in the future, so stay tuned for that. There's one that I spoke about a while back, which definitely will be happening soon, and I keep saying like, oh, I'm going to talk about it soon, and oh, I'll talk about it in the real-time footage. I can't be bothered. We're going to talk about it now. What is the future of this park? So obviously, Greek-themed area. You guys really like the mythology theming, you know. So a lot of people suggesting like an ancient Egypt-style area. That'd be really cool, and that definitely is on the cards for later because I think that would be quite fun to do, as much as it's not an actual theme in the game. However, one of the next areas, the area that will sort of link up the main sort of lake at the front of the park and this Viking themed area towards the back, behind where Mjolnir is again, I feel like there, I want to make some sort of like, if you've seen Celestial Park in Epic Universe, like a nice, just modern looking area with some really nice buildings and like a couple flat rides here and there, nothing major, something like that. I really want to do, just to sort of link the two together and have this really nice area that's not an overpowering theme per se, or like a major themed area in the park, but somewhere family orientated and that just looks nice. So we can then build a steampunk themed area. That is my next go-to theme, and I know again that's not in the game. I don't care. I absolutely love steampunk. Technically like 4 of the top 10 rides I've ever been on in my ranking are literally steampunk themed. I think you've got like Voltron, of course, Ride to Happiness to an extent. You've also got Fly. Fly is going to be a major inspiration for that area that we build. It will probably have more than one coaster in it, but you know, still. I'm really excited to do that. Eventually I want to do a few other themed areas as well, so again, keep your suggestions coming if you do have any. Really excited to do more with this park. I think I fixed the lag as well. There was a lot of people complaining about the lag in the last episode, and at first I was like, wait, what? It shouldn't be lagging that much. My god, I watched it back, it really was. So now I've gone back. It seemed to be a thing with my actual recording software rather than my actual like game, because the game wasn't lagging too much. It still has a little bit of lag here and there, but yeah, I fixed that now. As I am fixing in place some final crates and barrels for that final building before the drop, because we're now going to head into real time and POV this log flume and show you around a little bit. As you can see, we are here in the Viking themed area with the invert off in the background and one of those long ships. I've got staff walking past. What are they doing? Why is the mechanic always so jolly and everyone else isn't? Either way, if we walk past Valkyrie and probably a few more jolly staff members, walk past the exit and the photo booth, we go past the shop to the teacups called Vinda Snurra. Now that name is an incredible name and I absolutely love that name. It literally means wind spin in Swedish, so I guess it's a bit Norse, but it was by Misha7669, so thank you very much for that suggestion. I'm really happy with it, and of course that moving entrance sign as well. Love it. But as you can see in front of us, we have the coaster, and behind us we have the log flume. Here it is. There is that final drop, and I literally said in the last episode, I was like, oh, I can imagine like a final drop with a final turn into the station, going around this little pathway. Massive splash there. And the do not stand up until the boat has stopped sign. But yeah, I literally had a vision of seeing this sort of ride right in front of us, around that pathway, and as you can see, going down the drop, we'll just speed it up a bit. Yeah, it's a bit slanted going down half the ride. I think it's the new Flume physics update, and they've updated log flumes as well. I'm not too sure. I haven't done the entrance sign for the actual ride, so I've sort of skipped the first part of the queue, but we're here in the queue line, and as you can see, some nice views of the ride going up the lift hill slanted again, and you can get some really cool views of it coming in and out of the buildings and that rock work. But let's cut to the chase and just get on this thing already. But here we go then. We're going out of the station, turning right, and to our left in a second is going to be a sword in some rock. I'm not too sure what I was going for here. I more feel like, you know, just a sort of Viking generic theme. And I don't really know why the water's green either. But I guess that's just a placeholder for when you guys suggest the storyline and the theme and everything and the name, so we can go back and maybe change some of that around. But here we go, up the lift hill, slanted again. And this is where we're sort of making our way up the mountain now. Got some rock work above us. Then we dip back down into the trenches. The thing about this type of ride that I'm really not too keen on is the fact that you can't do like the custom lift hills where you can sort of have it slope out very nicely into the actual trough. Got some water effects going. Whoa, look at that. These stone statues appear again soon, but not with water sprays. But there you go. One more there. Oh no, one more. Oh, and down the drop. But you see what I mean? Like, I know it does it in real life, but yeah, going up the lift just before the drop, that's fine. But especially that bottom of the drop is very, very shallow, so it probably breaks some necks. And then you've got a waterfall. Oh no, it's like Valhalla, but it turns off. Oh, what a bummer. I should have actually kept that on. That would have been quite funny. Up the next lift hill now, as you can see. More of an indoor one here, but it's still got a lot of natural light coming in through the gaps in the wood. I quite like that. And into the turntable, as you can see. Again, what the hell is that entry to the turntable, man? And the cogs start spinning on the walls, and you turn around. There you go. And then we should go backwards now. Off we go. And then, yeah, the entry and exit of that turntable is so fast and just randomly paced. It's actually incredible. Look, more stone statues. You think, oh, it's going to be shooting water. No, not this time. It's like to scare you into thinking you were going to get soaked. But now you do, because as you can see, there's more fountains going over. But these just go over your head and sprinkle slightly. And then down the drop. Here we go. A backwards drop. Whoa, look at that. A smaller drop for the backwards drop. Didn't want to make it too tall. It's very like mountainous and just sort of trees and everything around here, you know. Nothing major at the moment. Although obviously you had those indoor sections and stuff, which I did work on quite a lot. But I am willing to switch out a few things in there to sort of suit the storyline that you guys come up with. So yeah, we'll see how that goes into the next part. Another jank transition out of the turntable. Fountain in the centre. Lovely stuff. And then there's a windmill coming up. Just a generic Viking windmill using the pieces in the game. Just thought it'd be nice to give it a nice building in the centre, you know. It's quite a tall building as well, quite grand, before you ascend that final lift hill. And here we go, quickly ascending that final lift. And as you can see, loads of trees up here. The views left and right will probably be insane once we finish the rest of the park. And then you head into this final building again. There's just crates and boxes in here, barrels and everything, nothing major. So eventually, that storyline, I'll put something in here to do with it. But here we go. Look at this final drop. The view off of here is incredible. And then you drop down. A huge drop, followed by a huge splash, and then a left-hand turn to end the ride. And of course, everyone thinks they'll be fine now. I could put some cannons up there, actually. But you just get a massive splash from that boat. One last one, and then yeah, I might actually put some cannons on the pathway because I think that'd be quite funny. And then we just have to, you know, not stand up until the boat stops. Oh no, we're gonna crash. Oh no, no, no! But yeah, I said I wouldn't say it in this episode too much, and I haven't, so I'm gonna say it this second time. I am pretty proud of how that log flume turned out. And that is now the Viking area done, and we're going to expand into this section of the park next. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, which will be out before the new year, but will also probably go into next year. Well, it definitely will, because this park's going to be massive. Thank you for watching!